Now, our Haverhill Mayor, James Fiorentini, who spent thousands of dollars investigating the abuse of sick time by the city's firefighters, and Barry Bluestone of Northeastern University, who thinks there needs to be some compromise between union laborers and the workforce. Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, Mayor, we've talked about this before. You actually hired people to go around and discover what people were doing on their sick time. And since that investigation, you say things have improved.
Sick leave is down by 40% in the fire department. Sick leave is down by hundreds of hours citywide, and it worked. It was much more than just the investigation, though. We had an entire sick leave management practice, which we instituted, counseling people, looking at people that we thought that might be abusive, bringing them in, sending them letters, and only as a last resort, hiring investigators to look at people, and it worked.
Yeah, you know, it seems like people sort of focus on the pension thing, but when it really comes down to it, I think a lot of people resent just the leeway a lot of union people have for calling in sick. You look what happened with the Boston firefighters, and then this shift swapping thing that's going on. That's where people start getting resentful.
Well, these are tough times, and what people say to me is, why are you municipal workers exempt from the recession? And the people who are laid off or are underemployed, people who used to work at Lucent or Western Electric, who are union people themselves, see their own salaries going down, they see themselves being hurt, and they ask me all the time, are municipal workers exempt? And the answer is no. Municipal workers have made concessions.
Mm-hmm. What needs to change, Barry? I mean, what do these unions need to do in order to bolster their image and kind of conform with what's going on? Nobody's saying get rid of them. They think that's what's happening. Maybe that is in some sectors, but that isn't really what they're saying. They're saying you need to behave more like, you know, the private workforce.
I think that's exactly right. You know, when we developed the trade union movement in the country way back in the 1930s, we saw the trade union movement as countervailing the power of these mammoth corporations that were wealthier than anyone else. And you needed strong unions to counter that. Today, however, when we have such fiscal crisis in our towns, our cities, and the state, we have to really think about not so much that conflict, but how we can work together to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of services. I'm thrilled to see the new president of the Massachusetts Teachers Association, Paul Toner, going around the state and talking about how we have to be part of the solution. We should be leading the movement for education reform. But we need to see that with our firefighters. We need to see it with our police officers. I used to talk about the idea that the old way of doing things was by contract. A contract is between two or more parties who have a major difference of interest and are trying to find a way to work together. A compact, on the other hand, think of the Mayflower Compact, groups of people who have major interests in common, the teachers and the taxpayers, trying to find a way to maximize their joint self-interest. And I think if we could have unions and local officials and state government working together thinking we have to develop a new compact rather than the old-fashioned conflictual contract.
But, as you know, Mayor, as somebody who runs a big city, I mean, a lot of it is about jobs, and they want to save their jobs. I mean, we have situations right here. We've got robotic cameras. Every time you make change, every time there's something, it means it's going to cost jobs. And you can't blame your union workers for wanting to protect each other and jobs, but is there a way to do that and at the same time, you know, move?
Well, not all unions are created equal. Some of the unions have stepped up to the plate in our city and made some substantial concessions and worked with us just for that reason to save jobs. Other unions have been incredibly inflexible, and the inflexibility has cost them dearly in terms of public support. I think it's taken some of the unions a while to catch on to the fact that the public is simply no longer with them.
Yeah. And you find that is true. Even, I mean, you have personal contact every day with people who are in the unions. Do you have these kinds of conversations with them? Do they know about their image with the public?
I think they're starting to catch on, but by and large, up until fairly recently, no, they didn't. I think they thought that the public was with them, and the public is not. Mm-hmm. Even former union people that worked out at Western Electric or Lucent or years ago worked in the shoe shops or sheet metal workers have come up to me and said, I think the unions are too intransigent. Mm-hmm. They have to give on health care, and they have started. I want to make that clear, but they have to give on health care. We're all paying more. I've said many times a $5 copay means that someone is losing their job. It means we provide less service for people out in the community, and it means that people's taxes are higher than they need to be. Unless the unions give on health care, they're going to continue to lose public support, as they have with the governor.
Yeah, they've lost the support of the governor on this, which is fairly key, because he was a big supporter of the unions during his first election. He was a little bit quiet during the second one, but as soon as he was reelected, he came out full force saying. But I mean, there still seems that in certain, not all unions, there's still kind of a bully mentality at the top anyway. And it's partly because of protecting their membership, but they really believe it's us against them.
Well, they think they're protecting their membership. And there's big differences. There's a difference between the president of the Boston Teachers Union, who's the old-fashioned, let's take it to the barricades, and the Mass Teachers Association, which says, let's go and develop a new relationship. You see it down in Brockton, where Tim Sullivan, now a vice president of the Mass Teachers Association, went to what we call interest-based bargaining. We start with what our interests are rather than our demands. And they are not only seeing improvements for their teachers, they have the fastest-growing MCAS scores in the state. So it can be done. I think the real issue that is coming up is, how do you make public workers do such a good job that ultimately the taxpayers are willing to raise taxes a little bit to pay for it. Right now they say, why should I give you an extra $1? Why should I pass an override?
When you're getting 6 weeks of sick time.
When you get 6 weeks of overtime.
Yeah. 6 weeks of sick time. I mean, that's the thing. I really think it all comes down to the sick time. The pensions are petty when you really look at it. Sure. And you look at it compared to what people get in Social Security. It's not about the pensions. And it is about the health care to some extent, but not necessarily. It's about what they can do with their time.
People are infuriated when they hear what some people, very few, I want to stress that, have done with sick time, and they indicate they can't do that on their own time, and the unions lost an awful lot of public support on that particular.
Was there any ramifications for the individuals who
they were all suspended for 10 days? 10 days loss of pay. It was a very big penalty for them, and that's what we had to do. We had to restore public confidence.
You know, one way of looking at it is, in any organization, you're going to have a few people who don't do their jobs the way they should. Unions, too often, at least some unions, seem to defend all their members no matter what they do. What they should be saying to the public is, you know, our members are doing a great job. You love your teacher, the cop on the beat, the firefighter who saved your neighbor's home. We admit there are some bad eggs, and we're going to take care of them as well. We're going to work with the mayor to make sure
they don't say that.
That you don't say it. And you don't hear that.
You don't hear
it's
it.
an easy
from
thing
any
for
of the,
them
maybe
to
the
say.
Mass Teachers Association, but you don't hear it from any of the firefighters or police unions anywhere.
That's what they should be doing. They should be saying, our members are terrific. It's only a small minority. I came on your show when I said that. That's what they should be saying. And indeed, it's true. The vast majority of our employees don't abuse sick time, don't abuse union time. They're hardworking, honest people. We had in the fire department, for example, more people with perfect attendance than in any other department in the city.
Good for you.
I shouldn't have to say that. They should be saying that.
All right. Thank you so much. Barry Bluestone, Mayor Fiorentini, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, when we continue, SeaWorld stops by with a few friends.